Hello everyone and welcome to the North America Race Room Discord group YouTube page. If you would happen to find this video informative or enjoyable, please make sure to give it a like. Make sure to check out the other videos on this page, as well as like those, subscribe, notify, share it, get it out there. Last but not least, please join the North America Race Room NARR Discord group, discord.gg/NARR. First up, we'll cover the basics of oval racing. An oval track layout resembles an oval with turns in only one direction, with the direction of traffic being counterclockwise. Traditional oval tracks predominantly have two straights and two turns divided into two parts. Turn 1 is the first corner entry after the start-finish line, with turn 2 being that corner exit. Turns 3 and 4 are the corner entry and corner exit before approaching the start-finish line. The basic layout and turn structure is helpful to know when you're racing in which to call out wrecks, as well as where cars are lining up on a full course yellow. Next up, we'll briefly talk about oval racing and the racing line. Normally, oval racing boils down to two racing lines developed during a race. This will vary from track to track and in various racing situations to include weather, track conditions, and vehicle conditions. Each oval race will produce different results from different racing lines. In theory, the fastest way around any oval would be to hug the inside line. However, the general rule of thumb is to get around with as little steering input as possible in order to reduce the friction on the front tires and be able to maintain as much speed and draft as possible. An outside line may be faster depending on race and vehicle elements. Choosing the correct line for your driving style and/or race will come down to driver preference and the other drivers on the track. In the end, just practice. Try different lines and see what happens. With that, let's go to Emery Anderson to help outline the aerodynamic effects and setup tips that you should consider during an oval race.
Hey everyone, Emery here. Alright, let's get right to it. We're oval racing in Indy cars. And anybody who's new to this, you may think, what's the big deal? You pin the throttle to the floor, you turn left, you might even get in the car, do some laps. You probably get bored thinking, what's the appeal? I don't get it. And some of that's true, you know. It's really easy to just get in the car and pin the throttle down and get your laps in. But when it comes time to race, you might find there are some challenges that you had not accounted for. And while we're watching these AIs, let's just notice here, they're going through these turns in a pack. And let me just tell you, any car that's not in the lead is in dirty air. And dirty air is the enemy of an Indy car on an oval. Because when you're in dirty air, you've lost all of your aero grip. And all you've got is mechanical grip. Without aero grip, it's really almost impossible to get that car through a turn at 200 miles an hour. If you don't believe me, then you should just go try it. Go try following a friend or an AI into a turn at full speed. You'll be in the wall. Just trust me. Because without the aero grip, you won't be able to hold the line. You're going to be understeering. And understeer is once it starts to happen, it's really hard to back out. You've got too much momentum. You'll be in the wall. So essentially, in an IndyCar oval race, most of the time you're going to be following behind another car, right? What we're seeing now, look, this is what we call like the ideal overtake scenario, where you can draft out of the dirty air on the straight, use that draft. The dirty air is not a problem when you're going straight. You don't care about grip in that scenario. So as long as you can get out of the dirty air by the time you're in the turn, you've got your full mechanical and aero grip, you're all good. What I'm trying to emphasize is in oval racing and IndyCar, you're in dirty air most of the time. You're going to be, there we go. There it was. No aero grip, understeer city. Okay, so you had to lift. Lost all your momentum. Forget an overtake now. So what do you do about dirty air in an IndyCar race? Because you just got to stay, sort of be patient, stay with the guy in front of you as long as you need to. Get the right opportunity to get around him, to get an overtake. So if you're essentially understeer is you're constantly battling against it while you're in an IndyCar race. You got to find a way to compensate for this inevitable force of having a car that's designed to work with aero and mechanical grip, and you take away the aero grip and you can't drive it anymore. So what you just saw there is why is he oversteering all of a sudden? Where's all that rotation coming from? Well, that's the weight jacker, and we just saw the little weight jacker HUD display come up. The weight jacker is a very well. If you don't know much about IndyCar oval racing, maybe you've never heard of it. But I'm here to tell you what it is. This is a little mechanical device. It's on the back rear suspension. It's going to change the ride height of the car. But more importantly, along with that ride height change is going to be some load shifting between the front left and back right. So find the weight jacker in the controls, map it to buttons or a knob, whatever you want. You got 6. You have a range of 0 to 5, so there's 6 weight jacker settings. The lowest setting is going to transfer all of the weight available within this range to the back right tire, and you'll have more corner gripability just through additional mechanical grip. So you're compensating for understeer by adding mechanical grip. And we're going to see a demonstration of the actual physical manifestation of the weight jacker. If the weight jacker is on high, then you're going to be getting less mechanical grip up there, but you'll be getting rotation. So it's another way of compensating for the understeer. This is a vital tool. If you want to race IndyCar oval and you want to have fun and do well, you have to master this thing and essentially figure out which setting is going to put you on the edge of over-rotating without losing control. And you can actually soften up your rear ARB, just what I do. If I find the weight jacker setting this a little bit too high, in other words, I'm really having trouble keeping the back end stable, I'll soften up the rear ARB until it kind of settles in, because that's a lot more granular. The ARB settings are a lot more granular than the 6 steps you've got in the weight jacker. Have fun. Race hard. Peace. Love you guys. Bye.
Oval racing highlights your racecraft like no other discipline. You will always be around other cars, so knowing how to pass, attack and defend is crucial. Passing is a small game of chess in that you need to establish an overlap with the car in front. As there are no braking zones, you cannot rely on outbraking someone. What you need to do is engineer a run on the car ahead by timing the exit of the corner correctly. You can then close the gap to the car ahead, pulling alongside to establish a claim to the line before the next corner. This is a technique called passing coming out of the corner. The art of the slingshot is similar, in that you need to time the maneuver correctly as it relies on gaining enough momentum to pull past. Slipstreaming is more effective on an oval, so you will close to the car ahead down the straight. Be careful, however, if you get too close too early, then you will not gain enough momentum in the draft to pull ahead. Tyre management is a crucial part of oval racing. As you are only turning left, due to the low transfer, right side tyres end up doing all the work. They wear out faster than you'd expect as a result, with the resulting wear costing lots of speed as you rely on the right side tyres much more than the left. Managing the tyres is achieved through a driving style and setup. Set the car up with too much understeer and the right front tyre will suffer a lot. If your car has understeer, you need to be careful not to over push the right front tyre, as it will wear faster than the right rear, which creates more understeer, leading to a vicious circle you cannot get out of until pitting for new tyres. The same situation applies to oversteer. It is advisable to run a higher line with an ill-handling car to reduce the stress on the tyres. During a stint, the fuel load burns off and the car's handling balance will change. Keep an eye on temperatures as well as wear of the tyres to ensure you are not overstressing the front or rear tyres unduly. Work the in-car tools, the front and rear anti-roll bars and the weight jacker to manage the handling balance, therefore the tyres, throughout the stint. As tyre fall-off is pronounced, it is prudent to sacrifice pace and speed at the start of a stint to ensure you have good tyres throughout the whole stint. If you overwork the tyres early, you will pay a large price come the middle and end. Having to pit early for tyres because you've worn them out early is risky, as you will go a full lap or more down, pitting out of sequence with the leaders. and unfortunately timed full course yellow can trap you a lap or more down, compromising your race. The car setup is a vital part of oval racing. Whilst it has its fair share of unique elements, a car is a car and it obeys the same vehicle dynamics as on a road course. As there are only turns in a single direction, you are able to set the car up asymmetrically to take advantage of this. So you will see things such as the spring rates, ride heights, damper values, camber and cast angles differing from left to right in order to maximise the cornering potential of the car as it rolls on the banking. Due to high speeds, aerodynamics play a dominant role in your car's performance. Optimising the balance between downforce and drag through a combination of wing and ride height adjustments is key. Generally speaking, it is advisable to first find the primary downforce level using ride height adjustments and global wing levels before fine-tuning the aero balance with the front and rear wings. Higher ride heights generate less drag but also less downforce. Be careful that you do not make the car too aero sensitive, as this will penalise you in traffic and be susceptible to instability in high winds. Expect the aero balance to change during the race due to the temperature progression of the track, with hot conditions generally creating understeer and cooler conditions inducing oversteer, as the front wings are primarily effective versus the rear wings due to their proximity to the track surface. The way the gears are used also differs on an oval. In an IndyCar or Champ Car, the first 3 gears are known as the restart gears, and are set relatively short to enable optimum acceleration from the start line and out of pit lane. Gears 4, 5 and 6 are the primary race gears. Aim for your car to run in the power band of 5th gear in clean air and normal running. 4th gear is then used in traffic, especially on short ovals to punch off the corners. 6th gear is used to prevent the car from hitting the rev limiter in the draft, and can also be used to save fuel when running conservatively. Look out for headwinds and tailwinds, which will influence the gear ratio required. When the full course yellow comes out, you must slow down and do not pass the car ahead. The pace car will then collect the leader of the race, slowing them right down, as nobody is allowed to pass the pace car unless explicitly told to do so. The field will then be collected in a long line behind the pace car. As the field is neutralised, the full course yellow presents an ideal time to make a pit stop. Be careful, however, and pay attention to whether the pits are opened or closed, which will depend on the duration of the yellow period. Due to how the cautions fall throughout the race, it is advised that you keep the same pit sequence as the leader. So, if you're on the lead lap and the yellow comes out, simply pit if they pit, and stay out if they stay out. If you find yourself 1 or more laps behind the leader when the yellow comes out, you should do the opposite of what the lead lap cars do. If they pit, stay out and get a lap back from them. Hopefully from your perspective, another yellow will come out soon enough that you will have been able to stay ahead of them, enabling you to catch the tail end of the field and make your pit stop under the yellow to stay on the lead lap. Conversely, if the lead lap cars do not pit, you should pit. You will then have a longer tyre and fuel range than them now, which means they will have to pit sooner than you. Your hope is that a yellow comes out after they have been forced to come in under green and before the time you have to pit for fresh tyres or fuel, which you'll be able to do under the resultant yellow. This is called trapping a car's a lap down, and can be done offensively and strategically to your competitors if you're on the lead lap by going further than them into the race and pitting after them, hoping for a yellow flag to come out before you have to pit. Managing your tyres and your fuel levels are crucial to being able to implement such a strategy.
Hey everyone, Theo here. Just wanted to say thanks for watching the video. If you made it this far, hope it's helpful in the future with these oval races on AMS2, as well as a special thanks to everyone who contributed to help make it happen. Hope to see all of you guys on track. Thanks.